Alex Answer here. I'm going to be doing a video about my visit to La Puente homeless shelter in Alamosa, Colorado. Now, this video is a critique. Not attacking La Puente, but a critique of what we might call the welfare state. Being reactionary. Institutions in our cities and communities that may be more about revenue and getting additional funding. I went down to La Puente to get some information about food assistance without an address because I don't have an address. And I refuse to receive food benefits out of Costilla County. I refuse to walk into that office. I refuse to deal with that after what they've done to us. And I don't know that the Puente even knows what's going on. So I went there with two purposes. Number one, I was told I can get help at La Puente. There are people posting on the Facebook Just Us group, oh, contact Robert. Robert's been all over the, look, we put Alex's RV in our Voice of La Puente. It's right here. And, there's only one thing because I'm on a very limited income. Only one thing I was interested in getting some assistance with, a thing that I consider to be the most important thing. If you're homeless or if you're not making a significant income, it's not an easy situation when all your money goes to food and there's nothing left over for gas and there's nothing left over for anything else. But I've been surviving on a few hundred a month for a very long time because I've cut out a lot of unnecessary expenses. And I've also gone many months without food assistance as of recently. Getting used to eating really basic things like rice and potatoes, oatmeal, quinoa when I have it. So let me get to the point. They weren't able to help me. They weren't able to tell me where to go. I was referred to the behavioral center down the street, which I couldn't find. I did find the outreach center, and I spoke with a fairly friendly lady there. Lady wasn't mean at La Puente. She was monotone. And I'm going to be honest with you, and I speak for a lot of homeless people out there, and I speak for a lot of homeless men. It's tough when you're down and out and you don't have very much, and you're in this society today where there aren't the jobs that there used to be. And you go somewhere and you see more women employed than men. It's the same thing I saw 3 years ago, and I went to La Puente to interview people 3 years ago. I stayed overnight just to interview a few individuals. I'm going to leave that link down below. I think that there is a value in hearing voices, not just handing out meals and getting additional funding by how many people you put in the beds. That is what La Puente is about. So when people post, hey, La Puente is here to help. Were you there to help me today when I asked you for basic information as to how I could obtain food assistance without having an address? Well, no, you'll have to have an address. So that's actually not the case. Somebody from out of state that has an interest in living off the grid and freedom found out the information for me. So you have these promotional pamphlets for your La Puente organization. I'm curious where your funding comes from and if your staff is paid. Are they volunteer? Because when people are being paid to do a job, it might just be a job to them. And I would consider having some more male employees to receive some of the people here. It's dehumanizing when people claim that they're there to help and you show up with a really basic question and the lady that really doesn't want to hear your story because it's just her job. And that's the truth, and that's not an attack. That's how things are across the nation. So this is more commentary on society, the welfare state, welfare offices, social services, homeless shelters. A lot of people avoid those places because some of the people that work there aren't very friendly, aren't very informative. Getting now to the second part, I wanted to make sure that those employees were aware that the residents of Costilla County are being targeted because they're not Spanish. Devin Pignon has provided a lot of insightful information to us in the SLV Just Us group. And he has stated, as well as others, that all these white people out here are buying stolen land that really belongs to them. They feel they're entitled to all this. And they have slandered me, and I communicated this to the La Puente office, because if they're communicating with Costilla County, they need to know what the associates of Costilla County are doing. They didn't know what the code enforcement officers are doing. And someone else said, well, you got to be careful. La Puente and Costilla County might be really close. So what is this, some sort of a business transaction? You push people out of the prairie? Or the flats, as they call it. We call it the flats. Like, we call it this. Why don't you come out and come fishing? I want to make sure that those people heard my opinion, and I don't feel that they really got it. There was a sense of, we're not getting involved in this. Really? First they came for the Jews, and I said nothing. Then they came for this group, and I said nothing, and you know where the rest of this goes. And then they came for me. Or then they came for you. There's no one around. Third point, and probably the most important point of this video. We came here to live off the grid. I paid $3,000 for this RV, $2,000 in moving costs. I have a part-time job on the internet, running a guy's website, because I'm good at what I do, working for myself on the computer, sharing information. There is a new group of people coming out here that are not exactly like the others 5 years ago or 10 years ago. I know you guys have heard a lot of stories. I remember coming here a couple years ago, talking about living off the grid out there. Most of you people in Alamosa have no idea where this area is. Some do, but you haven't been out there. Some guy has to come take a picture for you. Oh, and so he's visiting these places. Oh, I'm here to help. With what? To offer us a bed in a homeless shelter. Alamosa is one of the coldest, or the coldest, as some people refer to it, place in North America during the winter. Why would you want to be in a homeless shelter in a drug-addled part of town? How about that methadone clinic? I'm from Portland, Oregon, and I've seen what methadone clinics do to people. That's not a solution. There's some fucked up shit going on in your local government in Alamosa. What do I got to start going down to the county commissioner meeting there? City council? How does the city of Alamosa feel about Costilla County pushing people out? You want to see more RVs pulling into town? You want to see more people at the food bank? You want to see... Now let's talk about food. We came here to live off the grid. I paid money to live here. And I came with $2,000 to buy land. I already worked out a deal. For those of you that have attacked me, that are also watching, saying, well, this guy doesn't even own land, he's a squatter. When I heard what you guys were doing, I did not give that guy $2,000. I used that $2,000 to live off of and upgrade my RV, buy solar panels, buy 2 more batteries. I'm set to go. I have more power. I have a micro studio right here in the RV. But that $2,000 was meant to go to land until the news came out about these crackdowns. You think I'm going to drop $2,000 when I hardly have any money when this is happening? Instead of being reactionary and encourage people to sleep in your beds, why are you not helping us? I want to tell you that I feel it's immoral for you, any of you, to encourage that we enlist in your bed services when we don't need it. That tells me that this institution is in it for the money. I haven't been shown otherwise, or it's under someone's control that doesn't want to get involved. Again, what is the connection between Costilla County and La Puente? Costilla County is involved in illegal actions, La Puente. There is no law that says you have to have a septic on your land, even in a land use code. They're talking about changing it, but Cruz Soto and Colleen Romero are already going on people's property with their hand on their gun, and they're evicting them. After 10 days, if you don't leave, it becomes criminal, and it becomes a summons to court. I mean, you're all aware of this, right? So you're here to help. Let's look at your themes. The voice of La Puente. Humankind is not woven the web of life, but we are a thread within it. But what is this? Are you people for real? We came here to live off the grid. Is that like not reaching anyone? We're not meth heads. Some of us did not come here to grow marijuana or large amounts using other people's water. I speak for myself. I don't speak for others. But I personally don't have close friends that are involved in criminal activities, stealing water, or growing marijuana. Anybody ever heard of Devin Pignon? I heard he's associated with Adams State University. I wonder if he is still involved there. I wonder if I need to contact some people at Adams State University. This individual wrote a 9-page article, said, I'm doing this to help populate my YouTube coverage of the events in Costilla County. My YouTube videos are the ones that got out there to the media. Marginalizing me as a racist when I came here to escape racism, being mixed race, half Middle Eastern, half white. I couldn't live in an all-white town that was that expensive anymore, nor did I want to. And I realized those people weren't my friends. I came here to live in peace. I feel insulted when I see people encourage people to join the welfare state. We're also a society where some people claim disability, mental illness, to receive money. There are people that do that here. I do not approve of that. There is one particular individual who does that, who has a disability for social anxiety disorder, which is a farce because he spends a lot of time in the desert harassing people. Now, I won't mention this person's name, who's volunteered at KRZA for years, but this person made it his #1 goal to destroy my spirit because I came here with nothing 3 years ago. By the way, I left, went back to Portland, lived in my vehicle for a year. Homemade teardrop camper. Homemade. With a Craftsman. Those things go for like $5,000. I made one by myself with a friend. We did it ourselves. Where is the ingenuity? Where is the imagination? Where is your interest in Costilla County? Why are you not interested in people becoming self-sufficient? As a solution, let's move to phase 4. Solution to homelessness, self-sufficiency, living off the grid, building your own home. How about like a wall at La Puente for people off the grid to help each other, get things done outside the dollar system? Oh, but that does involve a grant. How about becoming aware that quinoa grows in the San Luis Valley and people can be independent from food stamps, food assistance, if they were to grow their own food? Quinoa doesn't need a whole lot of water. If, and I say if, Colorado starts getting a lot more rain, people need to get on it and mass producing quinoa. This could be a national, international thing. Some of you just don't understand it. Quinoa is a very expensive superfood. In some supermarkets going for $8 a pound. It's all coming from Peru, and Bolivia. Who's the one person in America growing quinoa now in the only known place in the United States where it is known to grow? Ernie in Moscow, Colorado. How far is that from Alamosa? 15 miles. Okay. Oh, just go to a food box. Where is your enthusiasm in people becoming food sovereign? I haven't seen any. Going back to the behavioral thing, I understand that when I speak, sometimes I can sound a little stressed. I think maybe they were suggesting I go get checked out at the behavioral center. I'm not really sure. You're going to send me there for food assistance? Really? I mean, I was just like, I was taken aback by it. And when I came 3 years ago, the lady there was an Asian lady working at the desk, was so cold. And I don't mean temperature. And it was like, oh yeah, we're here to help you with housing. That's what we do. It was like being put through the machine. And I felt like I disappointed them because I was only there to stay one night and find out what it was like inside La Puente. And I did a few interviews with a few gentlemen there. And there was a sense of healing between myself and that older man. Because some young kid had the gall to walk in there didn't really need to be there to hear someone's voice. What I'm doing in this video series, for those of you that don't know me, I'm going to be covering a lot of news in the San Luis Valley, off the grid news. I've also done a lot to cover the corruption in Costilla County. I've also made myself a target. My friend John had his life threatened in San Luis, and they said to him the last time we were there, a few residents, this were the old days, like in the 60s and 70s, we'd running out of here with 30-06s, and if we can get away with it, we do it again. Today, driving back to my place, there was a truck that followed me for about a mile, and it did stop following me, but it did come by me, slow down, turn around, and follow my RV. People like Devin Pignon, people like the former sheriff of Costilla County, Pete Espinoza, these people hate me. And these people's ancestors, some of them murdered people out here. Some of you need to wake up that white people are under attack in Costilla County. And I am not okay with you people acting like it's not happening. You know, I was trying to explain to the lady at the Great Clips when I got my haircut what's going on. I can feel the fear from the other hairdressers and disdain, like I was talking about their mafia brothers. I keep hearing how everybody's related, and you go to Alamosa and I get these weird looks, man. Next point, point 5. Living off the grid makes one independent from the need for government services. Maybe that's the problem. When you have people going out of the dollar, out of the food stamp thing, and they're not tallied as someone that needs your services, then where do you get your funding? You don't. I know how this works. Coast to coast, city to city. If you are actually concerned. Some of your little individuals here would have contacted me or would have... I mean, you've got nothing for Off the Grid at La Puente. You're a welfare agency receiving money based on the need. The more need, the more money, the more opportunity for some of that money to disappear. I'm not accusing you, La Puente, of doing that, but this is commonplace in America. I mean, I know you know this. People living off the grid are doing so and coming here to live free and not dependent. That should be encouraged. Encouraging people to fill up your beds for your own agenda and your own tallies is immoral. And what it does is it takes up a bed for someone that actually needs it. So, La Puente, how are you actually there? Oh, firewood. I'm aware of that. Leap. Oh, great. There's more than welfare when it comes to helping people. And some of you just don't get it because it's your job. It's your job, and you're happy to have a job. So you're another cog in the machine. I also met a volunteer at La Puente, a female volunteer recently, very nice, very involved in the in what's going on out here. So I'm not attacking your employees. I made a statement though. Your desk people got the monotone. You need some life in there and happiness. Like I felt the sadness in there. I felt out of place there. And then you look out the street and you look at what's going on. The sign at the garden center, stop the meth and heroin. Look, I know some people think I'm a little weird when I talk about how spiritual sickness in society dovetails with drug addiction, that it comes from a spiritual sickness. I know some of you think that's weird, but it's the truth, and you've got it going on there, and you've got a methadone clinic. Colorado is experiencing an influx of refugees. Oh, now they're saying the Syrians are coming too. Colorado is experiencing an influx of human beings. I do believe that, I want to keep some of my political views out of this, but our world is a scary place right now. Colorado could be a good place to be to get away from it all. But if you've lived here your whole life and you're not looking at what's going on with the world, you may not see that. Those of us that came here from fucked up major cities, overpopulation, cartels coming in, human trafficking, just decay of modern society. Portland's a great example of that. I left Portland for a reason. I did not come here to spend one night in your homeless shelter unless I absolutely needed it. So that's what I would like to say. What I just did. Solutions to poverty and homelessness is building your own home, having your own land, not renting an apartment, not spending all your time working for a job to spend all this money on the expenses of the system. There is a massive off-the-grid movement taking place, and there's going to be a mass influx of people coming into Costilla County that none of you are going to be able to stop in the next couple of years. And some of these people are coming here to survive things, all kinds of things. Become a subscriber to my YouTube channel. We'll talk more about that in the more appropriate time and place. It's important that you become aware of world events and solutions like growing your own food, maybe handing out some seed packets, or having pamphlets on growing your own food, or perhaps a collective or a farmers type of a thing where farmers, legitimate farmers will take volunteers, because I want to volunteer next year. That's my goal. Spring. I want to be on the land where we're going to grow the quinoa, and we are going to use the monsoon rains to water the quinoa. I'm dead serious. I grew quinoa this year in Trinidad using only the water from the sky. If I don't see some sort of education part on your part, that doesn't look good. Growing your own food's a solution. Having your own home is a solution. Being able to make money on your own is a solution. We are in a day and age where this thing right here, that iPad, and this pays my bills. I run a guy's website. He pays me a few $100 a month. It was a godsend for that even to happen, but it did. A little bit here and there from the YouTube channel, but I live very humbly in a very conservative manner. Instead of encouraging welfare, you should be behind what we're doing. And I'll close with this point, because as we become a more functioning off-the-grid community, now with Facebook, we have Facebook groups with 600 members. We have San Luis Valley, 1,000 members. That's not mine, but you and I, we have these groups now where we can talk to each other. I have my group with 80 members in less than a week. San Luis Valley, off-grid, freedom movement. We have ways we can contact each other now that didn't exist a couple years ago. And so instead of sending people in the direction of La Puente, how about we network? How about a bulletin board? You know, farmers, volunteer. You can stay here and you can get some money or have some food. I would work for a mass sum of quinoa. Seriously, I would work for just the food. So, think about these things. You ever heard of the Wake and Bake Cafe? I don't know the owner. I know a volunteer. And I talked to him today about a business idea. Do you know what it is? Hemp protein powder. Hemp is now legal in Colorado, folks. You got to have the right seeds, though. It's expensive. A government actually burned down someone's crop for being just a few percentage over the point. That's not good. The state wants to have a monopoly on hemp. That's what that's about. I was thinking about that a couple years ago. But the point is, if you can get behind off-the-grid ideas, if you can get behind growing your own food, if you can get behind growing hemp, you can help those people. You can help those people better their lives. Isn't that what you want to do? Or is this a job? I'm Alex Ansary signing off from Southern Colorado. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope that you reflect on the things that I've shared.